Everybody ready? Awesome. So I'm going to open the meeting for the Board of Health for the Town of Warren on August 13th at 6:02 PM. And also, WCAT is broadcasting us live. The meeting is now in order. On the agenda, we have Erin McMurray. Is she in attendance? Erin, you here? Erin's not here. Let's move on to the right to farming bylaw. Vote to approve. Dan, can you tell us a little bit more about what we got here?
Well, you got a copy of it in front of you.
Yep. There's no, the right to farm, didn't include any kind of, as I could see, any kind of acreage or anything like that?
No,
No.
no. Basically,
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Sorry, I had a meeting, I'm sorry. I didn't bring that one late.
We'll be right with you.
basically, this is a long time overdue, and there's another portion of this that we're gonna have to look at later on also. But it's basically, right to farm is basically giving people in this community the right to use their land as farms, but it's also protecting people from somebody coming in from the outside to buy a piece of property, filing complaints against the person who owns the farm because of odor, because of chicken noises, because of animal noises, because of farming equipment making noises all hours of the day and night. So this basically gives the right to people to protect farmers from complaints. It also gives a right to people to have a farm in an area that is designated for farm, and it's designated by the town bylaws. So you won't be able to have farm or farm animals in the general vicinity of the village, okay? It's on the outskirts, okay? And as you go through this, basically the word farm shall include any parcel or contiguous parcel of land or water bodies used for the primary purpose of commercial agriculture or any accessory thereto. The words farming or agriculture and their derivatives shall include, but not be limited to, farming in all its branches and all the cultivation and tillage of the soil, dairying, product cultivation, growing and harvesting of any agriculture, aquacultural, floricultural, vitricultural, and horticultural commodities, growing and harvesting of forest products, and other forestry or lumbering operations, raising of livestock, including horses, keeping of horses as a commercial enterprise, keeping and raising of poultry, swine, cattle, ratties, such as emus, ostriches, and rheas, and camelids, such as llamas and camels, and other domesticated animals for food or other agricultural purposes, including bees and fur-bearing animals. Farming shall encompass activities including but not limited to, and the list goes on. I'm not going to read this all. We'll post this on the page, on the
Sure.
website.
Sure.
Operation, transportation of slow-moving farm equipment over roads within the town, control of pests, including but not limited to insects, weeds, predators, and disease organisms of plants and animals, application of manure, fertilizers, and pesticides, and there's a whole slew of other things that are listed as activities that are included in farming. Okay? There's a right to farm declaration in here that basically is hereby recognized to exist within the town of Warren, Mass. The above described agricultural activities may occur on holidays, weekends, and weekends by night or day, and shall include the attendant incidental noises, odors, dust, fumes associated with normally accepted agricultural practices. Okay. It's hereby determined that whatever impact may be caused to others through the normal practice of agriculture is more than offset by the benefits of farming to the neighborhood community and society in general. Then there's disclosure notifications in here, no later than 21 days after the purchase of a sale, contractors entered into or prior to sale or exchange of real property, if no purchase and sale agreement exists for purchases or exchange of real property, or prior to the acquisition of a leasehold interest or other possessory interest in real property located in the town of Warren, the landowner shall present the buyer or occupant with disclosure notification which states the following. It is the policy of this community to conserve, protect, and encourage the maintenance and improvement of agricultural land for the production of food and other agricultural products, and also for its natural and ecological value. This disclosure notification is to inform buyers or occupants that the property they are about to acquire or occupy lies within a town where farming activities occur. Such farming activities may include, but not limited to, activities that cause noise, dust, and odors, etc. Buyers or occupants are also informed that the location of property within the town may be impacted by commercial agricultural operations, including the ability to access water services for such property under certain circumstances. And violations of the policy is a $300 fine and shall be enforced by the Board of Selectmen or their designee. And the town is authorized to enforce Section 4 under the non-criminal disposition provided in General Law, Chapter 40, subsection 21D. And then it goes on for resolution of disputes, how the disputes are handled and stuff like that. And of course, there's always a severability clause. If any part of this bylaw for any reason held to be unconstitutional or invalid, such decision shall not affect the remainder of the bylaw. The town of Warren, Mass. Hereby declares the provisions of this bylaw to be severable. So it's basically giving a right and notification to people who are coming into town to buy a property that you can't just file a complaint against somebody who has a farm because they're doing their daily chores that are allowed to be completed for farming.
And those areas are in the outline, they're not, or on the outlying areas, they're not in the village, correct?
They're not in the village. Okay,
Okay.
there are designated areas in the town bylaws that state where you can have, where certain operations can be set up within the town. Also, the second half of this, which is gonna be performed at a later date, because it entails a lot more, breaks down into how many animals you can have on a piece of property, how much acreage is required, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, what else I like about that is the word agriculture throughout that, because you're gonna have solar farms wanting to claim that they're harvesting the sun and get it under a farm tax code as opposed to a commercial.
Yeah, but they can't do that because they don't fall into the agricultural,
They're harvesting.
but not agricultural. It's not,
That's right,
it
that's
doesn't
why-
meet those, it doesn't meet those qualifications.
10-4, I understand.
So-
That's why I like that word agriculture in there, that's great. Jim, what do you think?
Sounds good.
Cool?
It's not, it's still a work in progress with,
Well, this is the first step.
This is the
To
first
get the
step.
bylaw in place, or right to farm law in place, and a lot of communities around us already have this in place. Because they see the value in farming and helping the farmer by not allowing these people who come in from the outside to build a piece, to move into them and start filing complaints because they have a farm.
Because of the smell or whatever, yeah.
Smells, noises, whatever it might be.
That's great. I'll make a motion to approve that. Do I have a second?
second,
Motion's been made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Dan, that's great.
Second part is in for review also right now with the selectmen and Jim. And then it's gonna have to go to legal before it comes back to us. That's more in-depth as to how things are laid out, what's required, what's allowed, what's not allowed, et cetera.
I'm pretty sure that opens up the boundaries for making everything from there, you know?
Yeah, and this also helps out with all the other issues we have with animals, you know, chickens, roosters, what have you.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. let's move on. Erin, you're up next. How are you? How was your ride? You come in from Ludlow?
Yeah, I came in from Ludlow. It was nice. I always love driving out here. It's always fun to drive with the windows down, smell pine trees.
Come in the back roads through Springfield Street?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I'll take the highway out here.
Cool.
So, let's get to the fun stuff first. I come bearing gifts. As in the iPad. So, I think previously you had signed this, if I remember. I wasn't there for it, but if I was told correctly. I'm gonna need you to sign this one instead. So originally, when you signed, this contract, it only had one person on it, whereas the new one has two. So one authorized user and then an office user as well. And take your time to read it over if you'd like.
Just want to make sure I'm not signing my truck away here,
Oh,
Erin, you know?
absolutely. I don't blame you.
So you got that program for 2 users?
Yes. It's already installed onto the iPad, so you guys hopefully got an email from Amanda, a couple weeks ago, and 2.5 weeks ago, talking about how to set up like the training sessions for it. Did you get that? No? Okay, I will forward it to you to make sure that you got it. But as long as you got it, that's fine. So the software had been installed onto the iPads before, like you could go through the training, and I didn't want to hand them over to you guys, and then you guys have to figure them out. Honestly, it's kind of in the butt. So they're all set up in that sense. So you just need to go through the training sessions, and then you should be good to go. I have the iPad, the cord. There's a case on them. I think that's just like an amendment to the original contract that was signed.
So you want 2 signatures here, really?
I think so. It's your
Oh, okay.
signature, and then I think
Okay, I
Olandis'
gotcha.
signature. If I have it correct. Someone else.
I think we're on camera, so we got a bunch of them.
I know, you do.
Erin, could I ask, does this come with, it has Wi-Fi included, does it have like a hotspot and stuff like that, or do we have to connect to
I think,
an establishment's Wi-Fi?
I guess
what,
what
yeah,
you have to, well,
there's cell service with it?
I think the way that it works is you can use it with, there is not cell service with it. I think the way that it works is you are able to like access the file like before you go into it, and then you're like able to edit it, and then once you get back to your like Wi-Fi, you just sync it up and it like downloads it to.
My understanding was that it's something that we could work with on the fly, and before we leave the establishment, they can be emailed a copy of it, but that's not gonna work if there isn't any cells.
Yeah.
There isn't a number associated with it.
No, that's that's understandable. I'm gonna say there's not, but I mean the inspector at Ludlow, like hers doesn't have it and it works. I don't know if that's something that they would talk about during the training sessions.
Okay.
I just
I'll
really
speak with
haven't.
Diane about it.
Yeah, and if you need like further assistance from my end, like I'm more than willing to help you, like once we figure that out.
Or if we have to use the cell phone as like a hotspot.
I'm not gonna use my personal cell phone as a hotspot, Mr. Minkowski. But we
Just
can
one-
discuss it offline.
So I don't need to sign this other copy?
No, you don't. I
Right?
just gave that to you as a refresher. I think that you already have that. You can keep it if you'd like. You don't have to. I will take it back if you don't want it. As for the signed copy, again, I have another copy. If you want one, I
Yes, I
will.
do, please.
Perfect. I will give that one to you. You can keep them both. I'll have this scanned and I'll email you a copy as well, so you can have a digital copy. Perfect.
Awesome.
Now for more fun. This one is for you. So these are the instructions that were given to me. Step 1 is already done and step 2 is pretty much done. And then this is gonna be a contract that I need you to sign. Feel free to read it over, please. It just talks about the rules of the iPad, and then I have one for you as well. Again, the steps that were given, feel free to read this over. I have 2 copies, so sign one, keep it yourself, and just give me one back. And again, I'll upload them and have digital copies.
Do we get a user's manual, anything like that?
The usual, but all that is gonna be with the training sessions that they'll be taking online. As for using the iPad, it's pretty straightforward. You click it on, the code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Super complicated.
So now everybody in town knows how to get into the
Oh,
iPad
I'm
if
so
I
sorry.
leave it behind. We're good.
Regardless.
You can change it.
Yeah, that's something probably you can change
It's,
too.
honestly,
We're good.
here's our wire for it. Here is a strap that came with the case. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have to use it, but if you want it, you can have it. So everything should be here on the homepage. We have the software. So you guys are really
Oh
only going
no,
to be
the
using
iPad
Pro
password
and
shall
then the
not
house.
be changed.
And there was a pencil that goes with it, is that?
We don't have the pencil, unfortunately.
Unless
Okay,
otherwise
so it's
approved
listed
by
as
the
something
Milltown
that's
Shared
with
the
Service
accessories.
Board.
You can scratch that out.
Real quick.
I should edit it out before that.
I'll just initial my
No,
change to
no,
it.
you're good.
And any damage or loss?
Just make sure you do that as well. So this is our home screen. This is the software itself. We have the Food Co-Pro and then the Housing Co-Pro. There's Pool on there, but you guys really wouldn't be using that as far as I'm aware. So you just click into them and you have your account name and password. I have that on a slip. It was emailed over. I can email you over a copy as well.
Okay.
It's super straightforward. That's the more important stuff that people can't even get into. I won't say them on there. So yeah. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Does it come with any kind of like little baguette?
Baguette?
Yeah, you know, like a little shoulder pouch or something like that?
Protector or a case.
Got
Oh, it's got a hand,
nice
okay.
little hand, and there's
That's
a strap as well. I don't.
Screen
the strap-
protector?
Yeah, there's a screen protector on top of it. I wouldn't
There's
drop
3
it,
of
but
these.
accidents happen, and I'm sure I'll be fine. I have faith in it. And here's our strap if you want to like sling it on.
Whoa.
You can. So, go wild, have fun.
Does it get HBO?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Unfortunately.
So I sign all 3 of these?
No, you don't have to sign 2. I always have a third in case, they drop in a puddle. I don't know.
Are you able to email us a copy?
Yes.
You
Yes.
said, okay, thank
I'll
you.
have them scanned in tomorrow, so one, keep for yourself and give me back either the blank or.
Okay.
Now, is this something that's gonna stay in our office?
Yeah, ideally, it stays in the office, there really isn't, I mean, there's not.
Until you go out
Netflix
on
or
a-
anything on
yeah.
it, so, no.
I
There's
don't want
2
it outside
signed
of.
copies.
Okay,
Thanks,
all right.
thank you so much. And I'll make sure you get those training emails as
Okay.
well.
Can we download forms into that by any chance, would you know?
They should be uploaded in Food Code and Housing Code Pro. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good, so, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you. Perfect.
Your 2.
As
It's a mini
for
tablet.
just little updates from me, we hired our social worker. She started, she's been with us since May. She's great. She's already met with like your chief of police, kind of talked about just mental health concerns around town. We've met with the counselor over at the high school, their mental health concerns. within the school for both Warren and West Brookfield, realistically. She's super proactive. I have her personal cards. If you guys wanna like put them in the office, you met her when we did the event. And then we also created these little cards, just kind of talking about some of the services that she helps people with. She's more so there to like connect people to services. So if they need help applying for like housing applications or finding a counselor or what else do I have on here? Employment opportunities, if there's hoarding issues. She's someone to kind of call. She won't be able to give like one-on-one assistance, like one-on-one counseling, but she'll be able to connect you to the help. So I'm not gonna put some of these in the office maybe. I don't know how much foot traffic you get, but just something if people can like look at and grab. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can
Her
actually
contact
post it on
information
the,
is at the
website,
bottom.
too.
So ideally, if someone wants to pick this up and see something that they want, they could call her. So, and then lastly, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
We attended.
July
the-
26th.
Yeah, that's right. We attended the last concert night. We, because they were having a vendor night and it was great. So we were able to hand out a bunch of information. We have like these first aid kits that we put together. I think we handed out about 30 or 35 of these, which was really great. Just as an example, we have like tick information cards, quick information, just mental health resources. I have fentanyl test strips, which are kind of a hit everywhere. People are interested in them. I have these like bug repellent wipes. They're always a really big hit. So yeah, just some of the goodies that we were able to hand out. It was really great getting to interact with the community. Obviously I got to meet you there, and it was
Yes.
great. And yeah, I hope that there's like other events in the future that we can attend in Warren. So yeah.
Is that other, the future events, do we want us to let you guys know?
Oh
or
my gosh, yeah,
do
if you know something and, yeah, assume that I don't know. I mean, I try to really stay on top of it, but things slip through the cracks. And obviously, if we're available, we want to be able to come out and interact with the community and like get this information out there.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for new things to do. Yeah.
How about a Title V representative?
Yes, so Felix, our Title V contractor, is starting on August 26th. I think that's the Monday. He will be able to do perk tests, his final inspection reviews, soil testing, if I'm remembering it correctly. I think there's one more service that's like coming on my mind. But I have a Google Calendar that I can share with Jessica so she can kind of like see his availability, and then you can call me up if you have something. And you know, you want to schedule him. He does work, you know, a full-time job on the side, but he's super flexible with it and is willing to drive out here and is very excited to start. Obviously, it's going to be a learning process for all of us since this is the first time we're doing something like this. Yes.
So is his pay come out of the grant money?
His pay does
So
come
we don't
out-
have to,
You don't have to pay for him. His pay does come out of the grant funding. Since it's a contracted position, it is capped at $10,000. So I only have $10,000 that I can pay him for the year.
for all communities, for that he's
For
gonna
all
be, that he's
communities.
servicing?
Yeah, unfortunately. So obviously that's gonna go by pretty quickly depending on how
quickly.
much you use him. But he's there for you. I know Ludlow's already told me that they probably won't use him that much, so therefore I'm splitting it 3 ways versus 4 ways. So yeah.
Is he going to be covering West Brookfield as well?
They told me no because Chrissy does it.
Oh,
So
Palmer? Is he going into Palmer at all?
he'll probably go to Palmer a few times, yeah.
Okay,
But, I mean, granted, don't assume that the other towns aren't gonna completely use him, but I feel like he'll probably be coming here the most.
So how does that work? Like, how does, I mean, because we have 2 Title V agents, too. So how does, like, choosing who gets what
I would
work?
say it works however you want it to work. That's on your end. If you have a Title V agent that's, you know, that you guys are paying from the town, obviously that's coming from the town's money versus the grant money. I would say if either, I don't know how your budget's broken up, if you have it broken up by month, or by the end of the year, you guys are like, oh, we can't keep doing this, that's when like Felix can come in, or maybe they're already, like, your two agents are super busy, and you just need like something done right away, Felix can come in and kind of do it. I mean, I'm pretty flexible, I want it to be accessible to you guys, I want you guys to take advantage of it and use it, so that's what I say when I'm like, it can be a learning curve, like, we can figure it out, obviously things are gonna be bumpy for the first month or so, but we'll get there. But I would say that's your discretion as to how you utilize who.
That's the day.
And, you know, just maybe like on a rotation type basis.
Mhm.
Start, you know, just with one particular person, then go to the next one, and then go to the next one until you find somebody that says, yeah, okay, I can do that. It opens up more opportunities for that customer to get somebody out there.
As silly as it sounds, my mom works in health insurance and, or just insurance in general, and she does like, she writes new business, and usually there's like 3 women who are running new business, and the receptionist will like keep track as to who she's giving the new business to. So just like, even if it's a little log next to your desk, you can like,
Yeah.
oh, I gave X amount to this person, let me like go down to the next person. I mean, just as like we call it.
It's also going to depend on the availability or accessibility.
With that, something to think about is, I know you guys are really only open, Monday through Wednesday, so I don't know if you'd be comfortable maybe giving him access to the building, if there's possible for him to have access to the building if he needs it, so he could work Thursday, Friday, even Saturday. I know he's expressed a willingness to work Saturdays.
Absolutely, we're going to have a process where he's got to sign for that particular job.
Absolutely, okay. Okay.
We're working
In
on-
person, or could he do like a electric signature? If he's doing it per job?
Because it's under the grant, how does that, like, would he need to do that?
Well, we have to control documents.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
still
I
need to
guess.
follow, I still need that paper trail of that paperwork in that office, so we don't end up with a complete file on the table there that's like, what's the status of? At least we'll know, we'll be able to start with, okay, it's been signed out. This particular Title V agent has got the ball.
Yeah, I didn't know if you meant like getting sworn in and so forth. I don't know if that's what you were initially saying, or,
Didn't I just see, where's that at? Just, is it in the back of this thing here, right?
for what?
The sign-in sheet for Title V?
Oh, yes, it's the
Didn't I see
second
that?
page.
Yeah. So we're gonna implement, like this here, so that whenever they reviewed, the blueprints or something like that, they can go, okay, that's been done. And then we know, we'll be able to see that it's been done and checked off.
Okay. I guess my question for you is, it's a physical copy, or is it like gonna be an online copy that they can kind of do it?
That's a good question. That's why I was kind of interested whether or not that could be uploaded with files. Because also with what happens here is we're working with the other departments in tracking all the different areas and all the different dwellings that might have just an electrical problem, and we might not see it, as a plumbing problem that we may not see, but it is still an issue out there for that, and could escalate to our department. So, we have a list.
What we set up was a Microsoft Word or Excel document
Okay.
that was
Nice.
shared between emails and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something that,
I mean, you can log into your email on the iPad, and I'm sure you can like access it that way, maybe. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But
If it could be
But, like,
uploaded,
we're on
Yeah, there's
different
several
topics.
different conversations going on, I think. So one is the complaint log, or not necessarily complaint log, but the log that we share with other departments that just
Okay.
says these are some referral properties that we've
Okay.
sent to building department and other properties, which is the one that you're speaking of, which is in Excel. that agent may or may not need to get into that necessarily.
Yeah.
Jessica's talking about being sworn in with the town clerk as a representative of this town, which I think is probably a good idea.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you're also speaking of the in-the-office documentation that shows Jessica what's been removed from the files and what's been reviewed, what's been taken with them out in the field, what is due to be returned. So there's a lot of working parts here. I think we're just trying to all get on the same page. I'm trying to help coordinate this.
No, I appreciate
Thank
that.
Yeah.
I would love for Felix to get sworn, like if that's on the table, if that makes, you know, him coming into the building easier or whatever.
Yeah, that way we can get him an ID pass and he can have access to the board.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something
Yeah, if he's-
that's happening while I'm not in the office. Yeah.
At least he can leave you a little sticky note there saying, I did this, he'll have this here, that you'll have, you'll know, you can see that he signed it out, he's got it, and just in case you get a call from somebody out there and says, yeah, I was wondering what the status was, you can go stand by. Oh, that was,
Yeah,
You
and
know, this-
nothing should leave the office,
Yeah,
right.
but, yeah.
okay. And that's something that maybe you want to just discuss with him,
Okay.
so that way I'm not the middleman and it's like not saying something.
Yeah, I think
right?
we need to have him come in and sit down and meet everybody and.
Maybe he
Absolutely,
can
yeah,
come to
we
our
can do
next
that.
meeting or something.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. In September. Yeah. Yeah. You should be around. Any other questions revolving the Title V?
You going to send us his contact?
Yes, I can send you a contact
Okay.
information.
And what is his name?
Felix Garcia. Garcia. He was previously an inspector for the town of Acton, and now he's going to be working like as a training hub for I think the greater Boston area.
I think
Do you know? Okay,
Potentially,
okay.
so-
He's very, very sweet, very, very knowledgeable. We're super excited to
If
bring
he's
him
the
on.
person I'm thinking of, he's awesome.
Okay, good, good. I'm happy you think so, hopefully. Everything.
For the greater Boston area?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, Acton's pretty far out there. But like I said, he's willing to commute. He's willing to come out. He keeps asking me places to hike out here, so I think he's excited to like get to know the towns. So yeah. I know.
That's a lot of territory.
It
So
is.
that's a road warrior.
I'm generalizing. I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure it's a great Boston area that he's working for. So yeah, I think the last thing on my little mental list to bring up was I attend the emergency preparedness meetings for Richards Region 1 for Ludlow and Palmer. I don't know if you guys would be interested in me attending those for Warren as well, which I think is
We're Region 2.
You're Region 2.
I believe that there is someone already representing
Okay.
the town.
perfect.
Cheryl Rubinsky, I believe, was appointed.
Okay.
She's been around for a while, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been a public health nurse in most of Massachusetts
Okay.
for decades, I think.
No problem.
Sorry.
If either Paulina or Nicole like aren't ever like able to jump on, like I am able to vote in their like place. I'm a backup person, but no, if you guys have it covered, we're covered, we're set.
Awesome.
Awesome. Do you have any other comments, questions, concerns? I'm gonna give you just the passwords for those iPads. Both yours and Dan's are on there.
You can have it too.
Sorry, we made one copy.
I am the good
Not
one.
allowed.
Did you read in the paperwork? You cannot change the password.
You're gonna like see them and you're gonna be like, oh, they're pretty
Yeah,
much the
yeah.
same, so.
I do what I want, no, I'm just kidding.
I think that's all I have for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much. We
No
appreciate it.
problem. I hope to see you guys all again soon and let me know if there's any events coming up that we can attend.
Just
and-
one question before
Yeah.
you go. The conference in November.
Yes,
Is
I
there-
signed you up as far as I am aware. I did get an email from MHOA saying that I paid twice. And I was like, well, I signed Dana. And I never got a response from them. So again, I'm assuming that you're all set. You should be good to go. I mean, you got an email confirmation,
You
right?
signed her up too, right?
You didn't get a email?
I don't believe so, no.
I paid for you.
Okay.
So the money came out of their account and went
Okay.
somewhere.
I already have a hotel booked, so hopefully I do have.
Yeah. I will look into it and make sure that you get a confirmation, but like I said, I paid for both of you guys, so it should be good.
Is the hotel covered under the grant?
Unfortunately, no. Not this year.
I'll have my business pay for it.
I'm gonna leave these with
Thank you.
Ashley tried to come with me today. She couldn't. So
Oh.
maybe next time. She definitely wants to come and meet y'all.
Alright,
We
Thank you.
good?
perfect.
Thank you, Erin.
Well done.
I appreciate
Thank
you coming
you.
No
in.
problem. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too,
Bye.
thank you.
So when are you guys going?
It's in November, it's a, the
We're skipping
MHOA.
ahead a few, items.
Huh?
Said we're skipping ahead a few, items.
November 13th through the 15th.
I have been going to this conference for several years in a row now, and it's a really good opportunity for CEUs, for the continuing education credits. For my CPFS, I am required to have that. Dan, I'm sure you need to get some stuff too, so it's a great opportunity for some courses and things like that. Networking is fantastic.
That's a Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yep.
Is it all day?
It's all day, Wednesday, Thursday, and then typically a half day on Friday. The past few years, it's been held out on the Cape at the Seacrest Beach Hotel, but they've changed, they're going back to that 15 years ago, probably, when they bounced back and forth to either side of the state, so I'm excited.
Well, ain't that something? That's what we've been talking about. It's going from reactive to proactive, you know, in the field out there. That's great. Wastewater. Did you see this?
Yeah,
Oh, you out?
looking at it.
Hmm. So let's move on. The next one is implement a sign-in and sign-out document for anyone touching the Title V files. Should not be leaving the office. So there we go. I think this is a great idea. This is absolutely wonderful. You almost want to get, one of the machines that, you can use your finger, it has to have your fingerprint on it, you know, to get a little bit more secure, so just nobody can sign it and say, oh, yeah, that's my signature, yeah,
Yep.
right, you weren't even here, you know? Maybe that's a wee bit too much, but they use it over at the water department.
Yeah.
You got to, sign in using your fingerprint, you know? Might be a little crazy, but they didn't want anybody just signing anybody's, you know, code. If you had a 4-digit code, then, hey, put in my code. Say you were there at 7 o'clock this morning. But-
Well, it's similar what these badges do too, coming in.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
So there's some type of tracking a little bit, if you needed it.
So, does everybody agree for this particular form? To be
Yes.
out there? Should I, do you think I have to make a motion? Or just implement it?
Just
Make-
implement it.
That form is now implemented.
Very good.
Well permits, standard of documents.
So I had someone reach out with some questions regarding the well permits. So half the time, I'm not receiving back the well completion reports or any water testing results. But it seems that the building department receives all these documents. So I just want to kind of communicate, once there is someone else in that office again, I will talk with them and try to get those results. But I think it should be just something communicated back to you guys that
Absolutely,
I'm not getting.
absolutely. And at this school, I caught up with Priscilla. As you know, we get emails from Priscilla's in there, and it's everywhere. It's in the assessor's office, it's in the Board of Health, and it would be, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, you know, that if it was sent to her address, that it would just go to everybody. And that's what we got to see happen here for those results.
Yeah.
CC or whatever, the
Yeah.
Board of Health, as well as the building department.
Okay. Is there a time frame that you want to make sure that these documents are received by or anything?
They should be completed as soon as that well's dug and been tested.
Well, you gotta realize too that the well digger is only responsible for doing the sampling of the water, that's it. He's not there to do a potable water test. That's up to the people living in the property.
He's going to sample that well water though to make sure there's no bacteria or what kind of sulfur
Right,
content.
but he's not gonna dictate whether it's potable or not. That's the homeowner's responsibility.
That's so strange. You would think that he would, because then if it isn't, don't you have to dig another well? Or are you going to go down?
He
and-
satisfies his conditions, his requirements, okay, but the homeowner has to actually physically take a water sample and get that tested to know that that water is potable water.
Okay.
And then the homeowner is responsible for testing it on an annual basis.
So
They're
then,
supposed to.
is once that's done, does that get forwarded to us?
The homeowners, no, that's theirs.
That's,
You could put into place well regulations if you chose to as a
Yeah.
board. A lot of towns in the area have their own well regulations, and there's been some conversation at the state
And I
level.
think we do
about-
have in the bylaws,
Isn't it
I think
required
a
for a
copy of
building?
a analysis of that
Yeah.
well water is well worth being documented. Because then that way we can't say that, or they can't say that, hey, the town dump is what, everything was fine until, boom, something happened, you know?
Without testing, you have no benchmark, right?
We gotta go with that. Absolutely. That's gotta be a requirement.
I briefly spoke to the building inspector about it, and I believe it's under their requirements to have potable
Potable water.
water.
Use the word drinkable, it's the same thing.
To be able to sign off on the permit too. there's-
It'll also give us a lot more information as far as what Warren had, is high manganese and things like that, iron, whether or not he's gonna have that kind of problem, and if you check it every year, you can find out whether or not it is growing. You've got more of that kind of contaminant coming into that water, so that you know that beautiful drain is going to turn brown pretty soon. Things like that. You know, you're scrubbing the tub every time you take a bath. And whether or not, which the strange thing that happens is, is that whenever it rains, it might get that groundwater to go in a different direction, and it hits a sulfur patch. And then all of a sudden, your drinking water smells like sulfur. That's kind of interesting. But to see the initial analysis, we should have a copy of that. So,
Yeah, there's nothing in here.
so the question here is the standard of documents.
Abandoned wells.
So we know we're gonna need the well diggers documents, the well diggers documents. Would be nice to know how far down you went, whether the shallow well, deep well, bedrock.
I think by law now, you cannot do a shallow well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all have to be deep well bedrock wells. Just because of the contamination.
That's interesting. So then, does anybody have any idea for a standardization of documents? The well diggers, the analysis of what they found for water? Do we really care whether or not it's a bedrock or, standard gravel pit?
So on this well permit requirements, we do have, upon completion, please submit a copy of the well completion report to the Board of Health office. But we have nothing
Never ever got,
stating about drinking water on there, so, I guess I just wanted to put it on here to have some
Absolutely.
open communication.
Absolutely, put that on there. We're gonna implement, putting that on there, that form, so that we know that that dwelling has
Drinking
passed
water.
drinking water standards.
Is it something that the board may want to discuss later on about potentially adding regulations if the drinking water standards are so minimal on the to match up with what the building department requires? If they're minimal, would you be interested in expanding it at all? Or are you asking her to match that form with whatever the building department requires for portability?
I think we have to be above minimum standards. And I would like to see that on here as a requirement.
Minimum standards for the analysis?
Minimum standards for drinking water, we should meet the state's minimum requirements. for
Right,
drinking
okay,
water.
all right. Well, they're all in the maximum contaminant level, the MCOs.
Right. Right. About 90% of the wells that are out here right now do not get tested. You know that as well as I.
People just don't check their wells.
No, they don't.
They go for years without checking them. And they wonder why they got kidney problems and bladder problems, I know.
So there's no regulations
No,
anywhere
there's no
to
regulation.
say to check it every
but
3
what we should
years or
do
something
is-
like that?
And I think to Tricia's point, we should make a regulation on the wells or a bylaw.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the MCO. If it's a maximum contaminant level, then you know that, if it's gonna be somewhere between 2 and 5 maybe. So.
Yeah, but we should have that spelled out in the regulation, in the,
Like at least every 5 years, but 3 years, the ground changes so much and the weather and the climate.
well, it's like
It's
the property
worth
I have, used to be a farm.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's got to be in the Massachusetts Association of Water, something like MAWWA
Yeah.
out there, somewhere in the state, that form or those contaminant levels are on a spreadsheet out there. I can see it from here for some reason.
They
Yeah.
are listed.
They are listed, okay, well, there you go. So maybe we just gotta Google it up and find out what the Massachusetts lists, for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do that, Jessica? Can you go? What's today? Today's Tuesday? Tomorrow? Are the computers up and running?
Yes.
Awesome.
Maybe we can put it on a future agenda item to talk about it more.
Yeah,
Next meeting.
I would actually bring this up again in another meeting.
Okay. Be interesting to find out if we got fluoride in our drinking water.
Fluoride, PFAS, and all the other crap.
So let's, you wanna bring that up at another meeting, at the next meeting?
Yeah, I think we need to continue this.
To be continued. Update, the next agenda, the next one, update on rules for MGL 410.300. Oh, that's a 900. Section E, owner is responsible to provide suitable housing for occupants if property is condemned.
So after our last meeting, I did receive an email with this update, that they wanted to notify the board of this MGL.
So the last thing I remember is that according to that meeting, that the town was responsible for putting that, but we have a Massachusetts General Law.
There's
system on it.
I have it,
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple
Right here.
documents back,
Okay.
it's in your packet.
So is that to say everybody was wrong? Okay.
That's how it was stated in the previous version of the state sanitary code, the 105 CMR 410. For housing, that's how it previously was written. But with that most recent update, it is now on the owner.
For the owner of the
Right,
dwelling too?
right.
Okay. All right.
So incorrect, not necessarily, just not current with information.
So the current one is that it's up to the
Yeah,
owner,
yeah.
that this one, okay.
Awesome. Okay, is everybody else set there? Anybody got anything to say? Everybody okay there? Move on to the next one?
This kind of helps us out with a lot of the properties in town.
Mm-hmm.
It will, that's for sure. The MHOA Annual Conference, Springfield, November 13th through the 15th. Who's not going?
Yo
You
ho,
guys are- I'm going. I'm not going.
I'm going.
You're going.
Tricia and Dan are signed up.
But what about us?
We can FaceTime you.
Price increases
Yeah,
as of
September
as of
7th.
September 7th.
Well, it certainly seemed like an interesting experience with everything they've got going on there. So, get as much information as you can and bring it back.
We don't like to share.
What's the name of fish place in Worcester?
Sole proprietor?
The sole proprietor. You're right, the sole proprietor. With the raw bar. I was waiting over, you guys are going for, oh, okay, I got this, I hear it.
This is.
But this is in Springfield.
Oh, this is in Springfield.
We're gonna be going to the
Oh,
casino, we're not gonna be going there.
I'm learning while I'm here.
The casino. Oh my God, oh my God. Next item, Trish, you're up, health agent updates.
All right. Not much, but a lot to report. Permits have gone out. I believe everything has been handed out physically between Jessica and Jim. Thank you so much for your help with that. All the same food establishment permits went out this year with the exception of 2. So as you all know, there are 2 establishments in town that did not renew permits. Everybody else is in good standing. So the non-renewals for food establishments include Massapeel Pizza and Village Market. As I said, everybody else got their food establishment permits. All tobacco and permits went out. We're still finalizing the mobile home permits. Just a few tidy up things on that, but
Yeah.
once we get familiar with the process, I think next year will be a lot smoother and much faster. So again, we're just updating all the files, making sure that we have all appropriate documentation in every file. So it was a big ask for all the establishments this year, but everybody was really really polite and cordial about working with us to get us the documentation that we requested. So all those permits have been either mailed or issued out in hand, so those are good. There have
I don't mean to
been.
interrupt, but did
Yep.
Dippin' Donuts come back with all their
Yes,
paperwork?
yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
And did you have to go back here to re-inspect or anything like that?
No, not yet, but,
Okay.
yep.
Awesome.
So everybody is in order, and right now I'm working on my schedule, my basic schedule for inspections to help plan out for the whole year, so that you can all have a basic idea of what the cadence is gonna look like for those inspections. I'm not going to specify specific dates for inspections, and I'm certainly not going to publicize anything outside of the office, because again, these are routine inspections, but it's gonna be following up on the last time they've been inspected and moving on and building better compliance throughout the town. So I will update you all on that information as it
So we're
gets
pretty much
solidified.
talking about randoms.
What?
We're pretty much talking about random inspections.
Yep, these are the routine, non-scheduled inspections. And then, so I've done a lot of work recently with coordinating with different departments, including fire department, police, building, town administrator, and trying to coordinate communication between all the departments on some of the complaints that have come through. Right now, we have 2 complaints that have come to my attention that we're working on, and trying to find that sweet spot of collaboration with other departments and trying to find ways to move forward with these in a beneficial way for everybody involved. So the first one is a complaint that came through for the property at 63 Spring Street. Not going to get into too much detail. I have been in communication with the property owner, and we're working back and forth on some information right now. The owner was requested to be present at today's meeting. However, she could not be present, so she asked me to approach you all with some background information and then ask you to make some decisions. So basically, the primary purpose of the complaint, or the primary purpose of what I found in my inspection, is that there is a camper on site located at this private property that appears to be inhabited, and it appears to be routine, regular driving in and out next to the camper. And the reason why that becomes something that we should be interested in is because, as you know, temporary housing does require Board of Health approval. So any temporary housing that's more than 30 days requires Board of Health approval. So my initial intent was to come to you all with some information and say, we have a camper here, it appears that someone's living there, this is temporary housing. If we can get you all the information that you would need to make a decision, would you all approve to have this temporary housing situation for a set amount of time? depending on what the circumstances surrounding that are. I think that at this point, the homeowner is sounding like there is some willingness to move this camper to a more acceptable situation, so move it off of the property and no longer be a temporary housing situation in this town. However, the owner is asking that if that is to be done, is there an amount of time that this board is willing to, the request is a reasonable period of time to move that camper off of the property. So I think that what I'm coming to you all with right now on behalf of this owner is, we understand that there's a temporary housing situation that's there. They are removing, from what I'm being told, they are removing any of the dirty water and bringing it to a licensed disposal place, so we don't have any concerns about that. There doesn't appear to be any connection to water, there's no raw sewage dumping out, no public health concerns at this time based on the fact that there's a camper there, except for the fact that it's temporary housing and you all require approval. So I'm asking you to define an amount of time that you believe is reasonable to have this camper removed from that property, unless you all vote that you approve the temporary housing on this lot for an extended amount of time. Does that track?
Yeah, it does.
It does. The first thing that happens, though, is how they're getting that black water and gray water out of that camper without taking it off the property.
They
To
are taking
transfer
it off
from-
the property. They are removing the camper from the property is what I'm being told. What's documented here by the owner is that that mobile unit is being removed off of the property and brought to a location in Agawam
Wow.
to be properly disposed of. I have no proof here or there, but we have the homeowner's written documentation.
So must have like a plastic portable tank or something that they,
There's some,
or companies coming out and taking it.
it
right from
appears
site.
it's stored in a waste container and is emptied by the owner a couple times a week out in Agawam. So maybe I should retract my statement. I'm not clear whether the unit is moving itself or whether they're moving that. What
It
we have
must
for
be-
documentation is they're emptying it.
They must be moving it for some type of portable tank to Agawam. That's what it sounds like.
Is Yogi Bear State Park still?
No,
No.
that has changed hands, is now Pine Lake. Sorry,
Devastating.
yeah.
Do they still have campers down there and all that?
They do. It's, I'm not sure if they allow dumping into the honey pot or anything like that right now.
That's where I dumped mine. That's where I was
Yeah,
anyhow.
there aren't
Yes.
too many facilities that allow you to dump anymore. You have to have a permit to go and use these places now. I think there's only 2 or 3 throughout the state.
Whenever I go up to the beach, up to Race Point, and I take that out there on that beach, I gotta bring that off the beach every 3 days to empty those tanks. And there's a gas station down the road, and it costs me $30 to empty that in Blackwater.
Yep.
So, and I was just curious whether or not that is still going on around here. They should have it like at each RV place, like the one up in Northampton. You know,
Not
taking
all of them are set up with those anymore. They're getting away from it because it's costing too much.
Really?
Yeah. So there's only a couple that are really, like, I think there's only 3 or 4 left in the state that you can actually go and dump it to.
Really?
Yeah. And most of them are only allowing septic trucks to dump. So it's getting harder and harder for mobile homes or trailers to go to these places.
You know, it would be a bad idea for even treatment plant down the road there, to put in the equipment needed to just dump into their
System,
old things, you know, so that it can be separated from there.
yeah.
Bring in revenue. You know, even if it's $30, that'd be great, it's right there.
Yeah, but that's gonna be something that's gonna go through the selectmen. And, well, it's actually gonna go through the water department, or the sewer department.
Wastewater treatment plant. Sewer board.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just dump it into one of the incoming pipes there, you know?
I'm sure there has to be.
Keep in mind that septic falls under us. So the more you want to be involved in septic hauling and septic, the more
There's-
work you're putting on
Yeah,
Jessica, who
but,
has to
and there's
receive
a
those
lot,
receipts.
there's a lot of documentation that goes with it. More so than you want to be doing. So,
So how much time do we want to give this guy to keep his
I would say no more than 30 days,
30 days? Like the middle of September?
yeah. Because now you're starting to get into the colder months.
I would think that he's got to get that out of there before the first frost comes in, somewhere around the end of October, or those pipes are going to break in there if he doesn't drain them, and then that makes it unlivable at that point in time. And right around Halloween is when we're going to get our first frost.
That's why I think we've got 30 days would be more than enough time.
Yeah, you think 30 days?
30 days is fair. They're working on
30 days.
moving it.
Where would that put us? We're at the 13th.
We're at the 13th right now.
So that puts you somewhere around second week in September.
If you wanted to go into October,
At least get,
October 15th or something, somewhere in that.
I don't know what his intentions are. Wonder if he's got something like being built to go somewhere else or whatever.
I don't have any more information to help with your decision. I was really hoping that the owner would be here to speak for this situation. Trying to delicately handle a situation that's not mine necessarily to speak of. I can certainly come back to the owner, or Jessica can respond back to the owner with a date that you're recommending, and then if you'd like, we can have them come back at the next Board of Health meeting if they'd like to have it reconsidered.
Yeah, I would say we start off with the 30 and then we have to hear from them.
30 days?
Yeah, that way it gives us a window of, it gives us some time. If we need to extend, we have a little bit of time to extend.
We can always extend it after that?
Yeah, not too far because you're starting to get into the colder.
Yeah, you are.
So I would say we start with the 30 days and go from there.
Yeah, okay. 30 days.
Do we have, do you want to consider that the close of business or whatnot on Sunday, September 15th, or are you looking at a specific date? If you could just give me a date that I can come back to them
September
with.
15th.
September 15th, that's a Sunday. And that is to remove the camper from town completely?
Yes.
Or from the property?
It's say from town. Because,
Oh, yeah.
they decide to put it somewhere else in town.
Yeah. Lucy Stone Park or something
Is the
like that?
camper currently registered in any way?
That I don't recall. I apologize, I was not picking up on that information. There was another portion of the complaint, but that's not necessarily for the board to discuss at this time. It's in process with another town department, so I'd rather have conversations with that other department before we bring it up in an open meeting. And air dirty laundry kind of thing. So that concludes 63 Spring Street. You are all, are you voting on that, or is that just what I'm communicating with them?
I think we vote on it.
Take a vote? I'll make a motion to give 63 Spring Street until September 15th close of business on September 15th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that. And then the next one that I'm working with multiple town departments on is 28 Cottage Street. At this time, there has been a letter sent to the owner of the property requesting an inspection by the health department due to known violations that have been observed from the street, from the public way. But there are complaints from other sources that are claiming some pretty difficult situations within the residents. And unfortunately, due to limitations in our authority, we cannot access that property without the occupant's permission. And it's not likely that we're going to get permission from these occupants to go inside and then cite them for violations that we're pretty convinced are there. So I've asked, we've sent a letter out to the owner of the property requesting an inspection. Hopefully we will be granted permission to do that inspection, and then we can work towards correcting some of these issues that are known to exist. There may be other resources that we need to tap into. Erin was just here speaking about the, not the outreach coordinator, but the other woman that I might have to try to coordinate with.
The social
Ashley,
worker.
social worker, thank you. So there's, I guess this isn't a clear cut, we're going to send a correction order and get this corrected. There are other social issues involved that require a little bit of a softer touch with this particular one. So I want the board to just be aware that we have sent out the letter requesting an inspection, and whether that is agreed upon or not, we have other avenues that we're looking towards investigating and offering support for this and the people who live surrounding this property.
To just pertinent list every one of these things that you just mentioned.
Yep.
Substance use, mental health, harm reduction
Yeah.
is
And I'm
an
not-
interesting one. Don't
I
hit
am
me
not
twice.
pointing my finger at any of those bullet points that are on there. I'm just saying that there may be resources outside of our small little department that can assist in getting some of these things corrected for the long term. Rather than just a short term fix it or we're gonna fine you, there are other ways that we can help to correct situations for a longer term resolution. And that's where we're working towards with this one.
Is it a house? Is it?
It appears to be a two-family
Two-family?
location, so the owner is not necessarily responsible for the other portion where the complaints are coming from. But at this point, it's just a delicate balance of, we ask the owner to give us permission for an inspection, and hopefully that is allowed, and then we can get in and observe the totality of
Is
the
it a
challenges
live-in
there.
owner?
What's that?
Live-in owner?
A what?
A live-in owner?
Yes, yes. Owner occupied
Yeah.
one side, and then the other side is not owner occupied. So those are just the updates, some stuff that I know it's kind of vague, but I'm working on some things, and hopefully we'll get some resolutions speedily. The other one that came to my attention again today was the camper at 32 North Street. It's actually sitting out in the roadway. This is a pop-up type unit that is used to store materials. It does not appear to be storing residential trash, but it does appear to be possibly attracting some pests, which is then a problem that we can look at under nuisance, right? So my suggestion is working with Jessica or myself, is to reach out to the police department tomorrow and to try to collaborate, because this is on a public roadway, and because I believe it does have tags on it, perhaps we can reach out to police, see if they can find out who owns it, who it's registered to, and ask them if they have any other information about it, any other complaints, have they ever had to go cite anything on it, and whether we collaborate with them or not. I think that we have an opportunity here to maybe send the owner a letter asking them to clean up the source of, the harborage of pests. And they're not rats or rodents or anything like that, but it appears to be flying insects, bees and flies, which could be from the cans and bottles that I've seen in there. So it's not trash necessarily, but it still is causing
Recyclable
a
materials.
little bit of a nuisance. Just take care of it, just move it away. It's in the public way, so we certainly have a little bit more leverage there. So that's how I'm hoping to address that and get that.
They might even, the police department might even have some sort of, might have given the person 30 days or something to move it out of there.
Right.
So, yeah.
So
contact
sometimes
them.
in some of these situations, I hesitate to start enforcement if there's another agency in town that may have some enforcement authority as well, so.
I would certainly give Dawn a call down there at the dispatch. You know?
That's where to start, see what they,
See what information
If
they
they
may or may
have.
not have, and then go from there. Because our only other option would be to, start sending letters out to other properties in that area that appear that they might own that. But that's a shot in the dark sometimes, so
Yeah, if
Well, you
there's-
can always pull the tags and find out who's registered to.
that's what I'm hoping we can get from the police department.
Yeah, I mean,
to
I
have
could,
that.
I could get the tag number and run it tomorrow and know who it is. I have access to the RMV.
Fair. As your professional, I will go to the police. If I have no luck, then I will leave the file in the office or something. So those are my updates for now. What I'm coming back to you all with, my promise is a basic idea of what the inspections schedule looks like for food and other permits. Now, another thing that I do just want to bring to your attention, I think we brought it up in the past, in years past, is that tanning actually does fall under the Board of Health for permitting and authority because of the ultraviolet rays and things like that. So my request, because we really haven't permitted tanning in the past, and I believe there are tanning spots here in town, is I believe we should begin this conversation to start getting them permitted.
The other one that I was considering too is tattoos.
So there's no regulation that I'm aware of just yet in the state of Massachusetts for tattooing, but if you wanted to,
There
get some
are
regulations.
issues that do happen. I mean, there are
Oh,
health
absolutely.
concerns on a tattoo.
Absolutely, I have inspected them in Sturbridge. We had our own regulations, and I did the tattoo festival many years in a row, so I'm a proponent of it. The state doesn't have tattoo regulations yet, so right now, if you're so inclined, I would suggest that we get on that bandwagon and get some
Don't
tattoo
those-
regulations.
Don't those people that perform those tattoos have to go to some sort of state-sponsored,
There's no regulation
no
at the state right
None.
now. So if there are regulations at the town level, because remember that all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts have home rule. So if the individual towns make their own regulations on it, then those regulations are what's enforced. And there are a lot of towns, and there's a lot of conversation that's been happening at the state level, not at the state, but amongst all the cities and towns to have model regulations. They're all basically the same regulations for most of these cities and towns. So going from town to town, you'd have similar regulations, even though they're not enacted at the state level. And that's what I would recommend to you all, is to just vote in the model tattoo regulations. They're pretty clear. And then it also brings in body piercing and things like that that would also fall under that health concern. Requiring bloodborne pathogens would be a thing that I would suggest. I would probably also bring Cheryl Rowinski in here, who's our public health nurse, because she is also, she's been doing those inspections with me for many years. So she could speak a lot to some of those public health concerns with bloodborne pathogens. And there are classes out there that you all can take to understand more. I'm sure you already have, but to understand more of what those risks are. And then under tattooing, also, a big thing that's started a few years back is the microbleeding, which is, you know, tattooing on eyebrows and things like that onto the body. So it's a very light, it's not as, don't look, it's not as deep as tattoos, but it's a very light, just superficial scarification or tattooing of the
It goes away after a couple of years or something like that?
sunlight will reduce it, there is, yeah, so there is upkeep and maintenance to it, but there's less damage to the skin, there's still a risk, but less of a risk of bloodborne pathogens with that kind of.
It just amazes me that you have to go to the state to get a license to cut hair. You gotta go to the state to, get a license to cut your toenails, pedicures and things like that. But yet, there's nothing for tattoos.
Unfortunately, the way our Constitution in Massachusetts is written is it just takes some time to get these things enacted. So industry, what we find and what we're learning at a lot of these conferences, that industry is light years ahead of regulation and enforcement and law. So what we're seeing a lot in the cannabis world is there is a lot of things that are now on the market that we haven't even caught up with regulatory wise, or we don't even understand as
CBDs
health.
and CBOs or whatever.
All those things. So luckily, we have the Cannabis Control Commission in Massachusetts, so we don't have to worry about that so much. But tobacco, tattooing, things like that, all of those do fall under us.
In Connecticut, though, you can't.
Don't. Just,
There's tattoo parlors that have been in Connecticut for years.
yeah. Hey, my first tattoo was outside of Massachusetts because it wasn't legal in
okay.
Massachusetts yet. So, yeah.
All right. So the laws are a little different down there in Connecticut than they are?
Laws are different in every state, and it's all based at the state level.
Okay.
Thank you for this TED Talk.
On 28 Cottage
Yes.
Street, you think you're gonna need an escort?
If it gets to that point, and I believe that if it gets to a point where an inspection is allowed, either by the occupant or the owner, where we're granted permission, I think at that point it's going to be it's going to be a multifaceted approach. So likely the fire department would be involved. I would ask permission for police or somebody, get some of these other
Departments involved.
to really see, and then come back to the table. Like we started at the table and we said, okay, this is the situation, who can handle what? And we kind of decided we really can't do much unless we get eyes on. We can do some from the street side, but it's not fixing the issues inside. So I think that if we go in and we see eyes on and we come back to the table as a team and we can say, okay, these are the pressing issues, this is what we should be trying to address quickly, these are the things that we can put a timeline to, and everything takes time, but perhaps with strategic resources we can get something addressed rather than. My fear in some of these situations is if we condemn a property based on emotion and feeling, the people still have those issues and the issue just moves with the people. So we're not fixing a situation. If the people have an issue that we can help fix, that's how we get long-term fix action. So I'm kind of hoping that we can get social services and more services involved in this. It's not a cut and dry, somebody has a pileup of debris outside their property, that's cut and dry. This is multifaceted.
Awesome. It sounds like a heck of a problem down there. Was it a police report that we got from down there, or an officer made a complaint? Officer made a complaint? So, and I think it was pretty well explicit on what he saw down there, and it was pretty ugly.
I think,
Oh. Be careful.
I hate to elaborate too much or speak out of turn. I haven't seen much except for what can be seen from the public way. So,
Be careful. Anybody got anything else? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Trish.
Thank you.
You be careful out there.
Thank you.
New business. Anybody got any new business? No? No? Old business. Anybody got
Yes,
any old business?
yes. 27 North Street.
Ooh,
27 North Street.
27 North Street.
That correction, that notice that we sent out was a return to sender.
Yeah, I've been in touch with, she called me yesterday. I'm gonna be making another appointment to go over there and do an inspection. Supposedly he's made corrections, so I gotta go verify that what was identified is corrected.
This isn't gonna be the fourth time you're gonna go over there.
This is more than the fourth time. This is a game that's being played between the landlord and the tenant. The landlord is an out-of-town person who will promise you the world and do nothing. The tenant is a person who will take every step possible to inhibit the landlord's attempts to try and make repairs when he does. And there's other games that are being played over there with her moving in other people without his okay and the whole nine yards. There's lawyers involved for him, there's lawyers involved for her. So I'm going over to reevaluate the place next week.
Next week?
Yeah,
You have a day yet?
probably Tuesday.
Tuesday the 20th?
Yeah. And from what I understand, we did send them another notification, and it came back returned. And from what the tenant told me was, well, he moved his address again. So I'm gonna find out what his new address is. He texted me the other day with pictures of things that he did inside the apartment. So I gotta go over and look at everything and make sure it's what needed to be done.
Are they being fined? Are they
Yes, oh
being-
yeah,
yes?
yeah, yeah. They're at, $500 a day.
Ooh.
I went up on the fines because he wasn't doing anything, and I got some action, but I don't know how much yet. So,
Have we built them yet or not?
and I told him that he's got a running tab, that he better get it fixed real quick, because every day that goes by, it just adds up, and adds up, and adds up.
Wonder if we should do something like a 30-day You know, every 30 days, just bill them.
I don't know.
So we got,
Something we could look at, because it's just, it's getting, what was the total last time? I have to check the total on it. Because we've got 200 on your road, again, I don't think we'll ever see anything from that. They're just not responding to any of them. We sent the sheriff out there 4 times and got nothing back at all. So,
back on 27 North Street, I'm thinking that, to bill them every 30 days, to send that in was like shooting, you know, a missile across their bow to wake them up. The next shot's gonna be boom. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I'll put together a bill and I'll send it to him. And see where it goes.
Yeah. So maybe it'll wake them up a little bit.
I mean, I know that he's not too happy that it's getting fined, but then again, he's not doing anything to avert it either. So,
Because after so many days, 30, 60 days, at some point in time, you gotta go, this ain't never gonna get fixed.
well, I'm already at that point.
Okay,
I'm already at that point.
okay.
And like I said, there's lawyers involved on both sides right now. I've also brought this to Jim to kick it up to our legal department, and I've notified him that that's where it is right now.
Okay.
So,
So maybe we ought to talk to him and see if
because there's
any
also,
any legalities in invoicing him.
yeah, there's
for this
also,
30 days.
there's also back taxes on that property. And there's also illegal apartment in
Illegal what?
the building, an illegal apartment in the building.
An illegal apartment.
Yeah. And it's been documented as such, we have it on file, that it was not ever approved to be an apartment. And that goes back to 2012 or something like that.
Is it a kitchen? Just,
It doesn't have the headroom, I haven't been up there yet, I can't get in there. But from what I'm hearing and what I looked at in the paperwork file that we have, the headroom is not there. The space requirements are not there. And there were no permits pulled to build the place. So I'm sure the wiring is all, they had to pull the ceiling down on the second floor because the third floor was leaking down to the second floor, which was part of the issue we're dealing with right now. So, amongst that, when they pulled the ceiling down, they found a hell of a rat's nest. So, the basement of the house, the windows were all broken out, there's no glass in them. The door is pretty much just hanging by one hinge, actually, there was no door. So it's open to whatever wants to get in there. It constantly floods. All the heating and everything is down in the basement. From what I'm hearing, everything in the house is tied to one heating unit. So everybody gets their heat off of one unit. The utilities are paid by the landlord, which keep getting shut off because he's not paying the bills, including water. And there's another apartment on the first floor. The first floor and the second floor apartments are on 1 meter, and the third floor has its own meter. So when when the electricity gets shut off for one apartment, it affects both apartments. When the water gets shut off, it's the whole house that gets shut off. No heat affects the entire apartment. Last winter, the first floor didn't have any heat the entire winter. She didn't file a complaint because she was threatened by the landlord. where we've got a, situation where everybody's playing against everybody over there. And it's just at the point where I kicked it to legal.
And you've talked to Jim, did I hear that correctly? You
Yeah.
talked to Jim about moving that up, picking it up a notch to our legal?
Yep.
Okay. Oof, that's an ugly one. Can you
And
let
that's
you-
right across the street from the trailer.
Huh?
The trailer that's sitting in the street,
24 north?
27 north.
27 north?
is right across the street from that trailer that's sitting there.
Of 32 North that she was just discussing.
Yeah, 32 is direct, 32 and 27 are directly across the street from
We're not talking 28 Cottage. Cottage is that other one, right?
the
Right.
cottages, but between, but over behind the mills.
Like by where Hardwick Community used to be and all that?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So that whole little end of the street there is just a nest of trouble.
I thought that was a parking lot, correct? No?
It's a parking lot between
The electrical contractor?
the electrical contractor and 27 North Street.
Okay. There's a motorhome in there now, or?
That's the clowning for whatever kids, they park their vehicle there.
Okay. They parked that big motor, they got a big one. They had the school bus for a while. But
Yeah.
They got a little too cramped.
That's
besides the
parked out
fact that it
back
was a school
underneath
bus.
like a tin canopy. You know, one of them parking, I don't know what the hell they call them.
It's a little shelter, a little aluminum shelter.
Yeah, it's just got a tin roof that comes down
Yeah.
part way,
Oh.
it doesn't enclose the whole thing. That's where they park now.
That says a roof.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's about all it is.
Yeah, and the air conditioning units that are on top of that roof, that's always a big thing.
Yeah, well, that's where all your leaks come from.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for North Street.
That's enough. Well, thanks, Dan. Old business. I
That
got
was
one.
old business.
That was,
Huh?
That is old business,
Oh, that was old business?
yeah.
I got one, them railroad ties. Do we know if all those railroad ties?
They're gone.
they're gone.
They're gone. Amen.
Yep, all of them are gone. Pretty sure they're out of this town too. Not moved to another location within. I
Well, they
think
got
they're-
the threat of hazardous waste on them. That's what moved them.
Well, those people that make borders around their gardens to have the creosote carrots. Man, oh man. Bills and payroll. Where did I see? I thought an interesting one was Title V, $300. Who was that for?
Lee Jarvis for Bemis Road
Jarvis.
property. Lot 1, 1300 Bemis Road.
And we got all the documentation?
Yes.
That is awesome. Where's that music from the years? Yes. And the other one, awesome. And the other one was the health inspector. We're talking Cheryl? You? So, just so you know, what happens there is that I'll be going up in front of the finance committee here in November to get, the additional funds, for you, for the health inspector, and your role in helping this town out. And, I've got to use what I initially put in there for just the restaurant. So we have to be careful there if any way we can.
Okay.
Until I can get to the town and I get beat up by the finance committee.
So break it out between food and,
Yeah, that'll make, what do we got, August, September, October? I'm looking at just close to
2.5
September,
months.
October, maybe 90 days.
okay.
90
I'll
days.
see if I can peel back and separate what I've done this last month. Typically, I make really good notes in my spreadsheet, but I'll try to do a better job of,
Okay.
Are you requesting her to, like, break away the food to the housing, or are you saying be careful of the budget because we're asking for more in November?
Yes. Be
Okay.
careful of the budget because I'm asking for more in November. And I'm going to be using what initially was for just food to handle both sections of your inspections out there. Kabish?
I think.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, Trish. On the animal control officer stipend, is she also, she's still
Sorry,
on
that
board?
should say inspector, animal inspector.
Well, it's
I did-
ACO.
I
Yeah.
did, yeah, I misspelled it.
Is she still going to be doing the, come October?
She hasn't talked with us again about it. There was discussion last fiscal year about her not doing the barn inspections, which, hasn't been discussed again. But what we've last heard is that she doesn't want to do it this year.
Basically interferes with her school bus runs and the kids after school.
I think it's just a lot more involved, that maybe she
Oh.
feels that someone else can do the job better, type of thing, is what she had said last year.
Okay.
I can check in with her again if you would like.
Yeah, give her a little tickler, see what's floating her way, or what's floating our way, what she's got going on, be appreciative. And then, Barton and La Judas Engineering Services, $250. I've never seen an engineering department work for that little bit, what did they do?
It's in there.
What do they do? Not much.
I mean, they're coming up from Connecticut. I mean, that's gotta be there just to come up though. Yep, it's still here. Sorry, guys. What are you gonna do? There's a dump here. Okay, $250. I'm just kind of curious. Did they do anything descriptive in that bill?
It's in there.
It's in there?
It's in your signature folder right to the
Oh,
left of you.
probably a ways down.
Dumpster going on North Street. Yeah, remember the White House?
Old Westbrook there.
Yeah, Westbrook Road, excuse me. Yeah,
Okay.
we need to call them again.
I saw that.
We still get a breakdown of all their,
Okay.
of all the hours and the different places that you've gone,
I
things like that, it's
can
broken down.
get you that information if you'd like to. I don't have it with me right now,
No.
but if you'd like it, I can
No.
always prepare that.
Just as long as I got something to back this up, it's great. We were right, it was very good.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Do you understand this guy's invoices at all? Yet? They're so complicated. Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion to approve, I'll go over everything. Stipends, Don Mikowski, Dan, James, stipend for the animal control, not officer, but inspector.
Inspector, yeah.
The health inspector, Quabbin Analytical, Town of Warren Sewer,
Jay.
Slim and Bartholomew, Barton, LaJudas, Bordette's, Solid Waste Solutions, and WB Masons. Did we get everything we wanted from WB Masons?
Yeah.
Just because the invoice also went to the assessor's
Yeah,
office as
don't-
well. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
You got that taken care of?
I'm on top of it.
Thank you very much. I hate to be running that up to Jackie.
No, you don't have to do anything with it unless you place an order through the assessor's office. I have it handled on our side.
Do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then let's move on to approve the minutes from July 9th and July 10th and July 18th. Oh, those in the meeting? Everybody look at them? Everybody approve them? Everybody sign them?
I believe that was the email regarding the MGO.
What is it?
I believe that one was the email. Yes,
That's
the
from
email
Rachel
regarding
Carney?
the MGO.
What is she checking on?
A couple agenda items up when we discussed the MGO 410,
Okay.
900 section E. That
Oh, yeah,
was sent to
section E,
the
yeah.
town administrator and notified to our department. So that was just the email.
meeting.
Did you make a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, I did.
A second.
Thank you,
Motion's been made in second.
thank you. I didn't hear that one.
So what's a good date for the next meeting?
The third Tuesday is the 17th of September, just as a notification.
17th of September. That seems so, like so far away.
So
I mean-
far away.
It's
It's
not.
right around the corner.
Well,
This year has just gone in a blink of an eye. Poof.
yeah.
17th works for me.
Trish,
Absolutely.
works for you? Cool. Works for you, Dan?
Crapshoot.
Why did I know that?
We try to keep a standard of the third Tuesday.
Trying, yes.
Try, you know.
I mean, a couple of times it was a close call for me.
17th of September.
So that's a yes?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the Board of Health meeting for August 13th, 2024 at 7:55 PM.
Second.
Second motion, motion's been made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Awesome, thank you, everybody.